What's up, everybody? Now we're gonna create one of your favorite character, another one of your favorite character, which is Ballerina Capuchina. Ballerina Capuchina is a very interesting character because it's mainly a cup, a cappuccino cup over here. And we're gonna get started. I always recommend to have your pencil and eraser ready, or you could use a marker as well after you do the pencil. The pencil gives you the ability to draw and shade it. You could do that with a color pencil as well. All right, let's get started. Think about your space over here. Don't make it too big because the arm, think about the arm that's gonna be around here. The cup will be more or less around here, leaving some space on the top, which is where you're gonna close the head, the cup, right? Just to give you an idea, I'm just simulating the shape of the cappuccina, ballerina or ballerina cappuccina. Let's call it ballerina cappuccina in this case. Just about here, right? And then the body will be around this size, the skirt, the legs, crossing legs, the hands or arm. The arm's gonna be here, more or less. So I just give you an idea. That way you don't make your cup too big or too small. So it could be proportional, and you could have a space to draw everything. And it doesn't have to be, accurate 100%. It could be more or less in the center. It doesn't have to be exactly in the center, But just to give you a general idea, because that's what artists, do. We think about how we're gonna do our drawing before we start drawing. All right, let's get started. And again, without pressing the pencil, you're gonna create this curve over here. Let's make it a little bit smaller. More or less, I'm pressing the pencil lightly. This curve, a little bit straight over here. And I'm looking to position my cup of the head of the cappuccino ballerina more or less in the center. Just about here, right? You can start pressing the pencil if you feel okay with it. Right? The curve, take your time. As you do it, you become better at doing it. You can see the space right above, stopping right around here. Same distance, the same space from here to here. That's another word that I mention on a regular basis, space. That's another part, or another part of the 7 elements of art. We're using line over here, we're using shape and space just to position everything. And a little bit of curve. You're gonna start creating the top. A little bit of curve. I like to start from the right to the left, lightly pressing your pencil. A little bit of curve, connect it right here, and go ahead. You could start pressing your pencil because you already have more or less a nice outline of the top of the cup. Excellent. Let's leave some space because this border right here, a little bit thinner as it goes further, a little bit thinner. Go back to the right because it's easy to see more or less where you're gonna make a connection. And another curve coming down. This will be the top where what we call the cappuccino coffee is visible. Here we go. Right? I think this one of the most challenging part of this drawing is this very part right here, because you want to get it more or less symmetrical. If you fold this in half, both sides supposed to look similar or the same. We're gonna do details at the end. We're gonna get the whole shape of the body first, and then we'll continue with the rest. Even the handle, we're just gonna wait and do it in a little while. All right, now just about here, more or less, you're gonna start what I consider around the neck, the upper chest, and always keep in mind that you're not gonna make it too big or too small, proportional to the head, which is the cup right here, right? And more or less around here, you could do a little mark, but that's what we're gonna do. I always like to start on the right. It makes it a little bit easier so to get the right size. So you start over here, you come down this way, more or less you stop just about here. And I'm gonna press the pencil so you can see. And you initiate, you start the curve, which is the waist area, right? And even though I'm pressing the pencil, do not press the pencil too much. That way you could erase. You see this width over here, same will be around here, right? Come down, make a connection over here. Here we go. Nice. Let's continue with the skirt of the ballerina. Just around here. You do this without pressing the pencil. Right? Not too big. Let's do the other part as well. More or less the same length as this one. See how easy it is really when you feel confidence, when you enjoy what you do. And you could just simulate this line. See, I haven't pressed the pencil yet. This will be your connection. This will be a curve connecting this. And you could do this outline. Maybe look like a little bit umbrella. The tip of the edges of the curve of the skirt, simulating this shape over here. Right? And if you did a line, it's okay because you could always go back and erase it, so you could get it right. It's more like a curve, up and down. That's how you do it. See, I'm pressing the pencil now. Great. Now that we have this part, we're gonna start doing the right leg. And they're gonna cross each other. So not too wide over here. Just about here, right? And let's do it. Let's start right on this area more or less. And without pressing the pencil. Right? Because this part that I want you to think about the width of the leg. That's why I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Do the outline without pressing the pencil. You see, we start wide. There's a width over here, which is larger than the width of the bottom. You get narrower and narrower. There you go. Curve at the bottom. Go back up. Straight. Good. Alright. Now you could do this to simulate the shoes more or less. And then we're gonna add more detail in a minute. See, we have the right leg. And don't worry, it's a little bit challenging, but you can always do it with practice. See? Considering the width, I'm gonna start with the second leg. And as you already know, it's gonna cross. They're gonna cross each other. The two legs gonna cross each other, which is the dancing position of the Ballerina Capuchina. Alright, get ready. This part is a little bit narrow, more or less of the same line. Go up a little bit, narrow, and it gets wider just about here. Here we go, it's coming down, narrower. We're trying to get the same width of the leg on the right. They both supposed to look the same. They're just basically crossing each other. Alright? Simulate this part of the shoes, because we're gonna come back and finish the rest. Or might as well, you could do it now. It's up to you. But I rather that you have the whole shape of the body, and then we start with the detail. And you know, feel free to go emphasize some curve that you need to emphasize, and if you need to erase some, go ahead. This will be a great opportunity to readjust. But take a look over here. See, obviously we're missing the arm over here, and you could notice that, you could see that. So more or less, the arm will be around this long, right? The length of the, not too big, not too small. Try to make it proportional to the body. Probably it may not be proportional to the cup, because the cup is big, it's bigger than the body per se, right? And this is what we do it. Some space. The hand is a little bit elevated. Start without pressing the pencil. Very soft line, right? The width, not too wide, not too narrow. More or less, as I said just now, proportional to the body, right? And over here, just about here, I'm gonna press the pencil so you can see what I'm about to do, right? I'm trying to get the hand with the right way possible. Now, there's gonna be, there's a curve going up a little bit, and that will be to draw the main finger, right? It's a connection. You can see it, curve going up, curve over here. Pressing the pencil so you can see, and then this index finger coming down over here. Here we go, a little curve, closing, right? Let's do the second finger, or the third finger per se, parallel, right next to the other one, right over here. Good. Right, let's continue with the second arm on the left. Just remember, similar to the one on the right. More or less around here. And you could compare, please. Try to consistently compare both of them so they could kind of look the same. Same width. See over here? Right? Start this point over here. Come down, it gets narrow. As you reaches the arm, the hand, it gets narrower. And then the curve to shape, create, to outline the finger, start going up. This curve start going up a little bit, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Similar, as close as possible. Narrow, it gets a little bit wide, and take your time. That, especially right here, you lightly press your pencil so you could get a decent shape and to look the same as possible. I'm pressing the pencil so you could see and follow the instruction over here. See, lightly start creating the other finger parallel to the main finger next to each other. It's a little behind. You can see part of the third finger because it's behind this finger right here. Great. Now that we have the two hands, go ahead and outline a little bit darker if necessary. Good. I think we have already the main part of this character, Ballerina Capuchina. Now, let's do the handle of the cup, right? just about here. Keep in mind that it's gonna be the width. There is a handle that considering how big it has to be proportional to the cup, the head. And without pressing the pencil, this is what I like to do. It's more like a semi-circle here. Lightly pressing the pencil, but I'm pressing it so you can see. More or less, see? And be persistent, be consistent with the width of the handle. It doesn't really change. It remains the same when you start as you go in the middle and when you end right over here, when you finish the line. The whole thing will feel like a half of a circle, which is a semi-circle. Nice. Excellent. Details, we're gonna add detail in a minute. Let's do the eyes. Let's do the eye. Considering the space for the eyebrow, you're gonna create, lightly press your pencil, you're gonna create a nice, a big circle just about here, right? Just about here. Start doing this so you could get, it's not completely rounded, it's not completely circular. It's a little bit, I would say, I press down more like a, not completely a circular shape. Here you go. So you could have an idea. See, I started pressing the pencil so you could see. We have the first shape of the eye. We're gonna leave it right there. And from here to here, there is a space. From here to here will be another space. And in the middle, start more or less, because we're gonna consider that we're gonna make the second eye more or less, well, the same size as the one on the right. It's supposed to be the same. It takes practice. It really takes practice. That's why I'm lightly pressing the pencil, because I want you to start like making the drawing in your mind first, then the paper, and then you press it down when you are okay with it. And if you make a little mistake here and there, you will always go back and erase. See, we're getting there. It's getting a definition. More or less the same size, both circular shape. Great. Let's add a little bit of detail. The two spot, the light spot over here, which is something that makes it so interesting and define this character. And I like to do the two spot on both sides, just the outline, so I could be consistent and as close as possible. All right, you can see how focused we are. And these two gonna be white. And right below, it's up to you. You could do this mark. I like to create like a curve over here. And then I just divide it, little shape this way. This is others a white spot. It's a reflection of the light. Probably four a little. The one in the middle a little larger. And the one at the end smaller. This part will be light, or will be white per se. A soft light, very soft curve over here. And then I start with the one in the middle. This, what I call light spot. It's a reflection of the light. Right? Two over here. And then two on this side. As you are following right now, I know you completely understanding this part. Once we made this dark, you're gonna see that it really made sense, the spot over here, because it shows a reflection of the light. Very soft. You start shading or coloring inside of the light. Sorry about that noise. I just gonna close this. Alright, let's keep going over here. And take your time over here. Just around the spot over here, because you want to have that shining area that makes the cappuccino ballerina more realistic. Good. Keep in mind the circle. Alright, let's shadow or shade the left eye. Right? Good. Take your time. I enjoy doing this part because it requires focus and discipline, and I'm so happy you're doing it with me because you are getting better at drawing to the degree that you're gonna be just doing it without looking at anything. And it's great because your friend gonna see, wow, you're getting so good at drawing. That's great. Just keep drawing basically whenever you have a break, whenever you have a change, draw. Alright, now we have the two eyes. Let's do the eyebrow. Softly, it's a curve right in the middle, closer to the eye, more or less. I start right here. Not too big, not too small. Just about here. Right? And I'm pressing the pencil so you can see. There you go, more or less. Consider the space between the two eyebrows. You start over here, a curve, another curve. And sometimes it doesn't look exactly the same. It doesn't have. You do as close as possible. Even in real life, our eyebrows are never exactly the same. There you go. Just about here, a little curve that will illustrate what we know as the nose. In the middle, right in the middle, right over here. Good. That's why I like not to press the pencil too much over here in case you don't get exactly where it's supposed to be. You always erase it and do it again. And as I mentioned in the other video, I like to draw this smile expression, right? This will be the one on the left, and the other smile expression a little smaller on the right and closer to the eye. Keep in mind the space. It's just a little curve over here. Then it's easier, either from the left or from the right, to create this curve. The curve that will outline the upper lip. There you go. And considering the space, so you could make a little mark over here, which is a tiny curve, and come down this way, and you're gonna make the connection. See? You're gonna start with the one on the left, or maybe probably the one on the right, it's up to you, and then go up over here. There you go. Excellent. And this will represent the inside of the mouth, could be the tongue, I believe, because he's dancing and probably singing and smiling. It's a great outline over here. It's definitely a happy face. Cappuccino Ballerina is one of those popular characters that basically every child loves to draw. Now, the top of the head, which is the cappuccino coffee, we will try to illustrate it here. And this is what I do. I like to draw the shape, what is simulate more like the shape of a heart. I do the left side first, and then I continue with the right side. And it takes a little bit of practice, and it's supposed to be symmetrical, which means both sides supposed to look the same, and you get as close as possible. But this is more like a design that, when you pour cappuccino coffee, you have the tendency to create that if you have practice, if you enjoy making design with the coffee. Is typically illustrate cappuccino coffee. See, I'm doing the other, what I consider in this case probably the petal on the left, on the right, and I'm gonna continue with another one, creating that little bit of space. It's getting a little bit bigger as it moves away from the center. Trying to fill the space over here. Right, let's do the one on the left. Bigger, and keep in mind those curves and beautiful design that makes it more interesting, right? See, we have the two space over here, and this is what we do. We have some extra space, and we start this way, right? And then do this. That will be the third petal. 1, 2, 3. And the one on the left, also the third. 1, 2, 3. The third from the center. And here you go. You have the outline for the cappuccino coffee on the top, right over here. Excellent. Now we could continue with a little detail over here. You could do your design choice. Let's do a heart. See, look, I'm making 2 little marks, because that way you center it as much as possible, right? And then you create the heart shape. Without pressing the pencil, you do this. See how easy it is? The heart shape is like connecting both marks over here. And let's do the other section, the symmetrical part on the right. And that's one of the strategies that I use to show you how to do the shape of the heart. Now, right around here, we're gonna do the mark for the skirt. It could be 3, it could be 4, it's up to you. I'm gonna do 3. It doesn't have to be the same on both sides. It could change slightly. It is a great idea if you make it symmetrical, because it makes it more uniform. Great. Now let's continue finishing the dancing shoes, the ballerina shoes over here. They crossing the shoelaces of the laces. They cross each other, a little bit of curve. See, a little bit of curve over here. Here we go. It's more like they crossing each other, definitely. Yeah. See the one above, in front of, and the one behind. Keep in mind that is a curve, a little curvature right around here. Nice. And I usually do this because many of you love to see this part. Let's position, or let's pretend the light is on the left side. It could be on the right, it could be on the left. We're just gonna position it right here, and we're gonna start putting some shading on the right side. You could grab your pencil this way if you feel comfortable, following the shape of the cup of the head on the left side. You don't have to shade it, or you could just start coloring whatever choice of color you have. I just like to do the shading because it makes it a little bit more 3D, more realistic from my perspective. Here you go, little bit of shading. And keep in mind, which is the technique that we're supposed to use over here, the further away from the light, the darker it should be. The darker it should be. See, in this case, the arm probably have shading on both ends, especially on the right side. Alright? A little narrower right here, probably more around the left side of the finger, mostly on the left side of the finger. The handle, remember that the light is a shadow being cast over here because of the cup being cast on the handle. Get a little bit of the shape of the handle first. In terms of the shadow, outline the shadow and then apply the shading on the right. Great, and some on the left because it's more like a cylindrical shape over here. And same thing to the cup, it's a cylindrical shape. So therefore, even though you put more shading on the right, you could put some very light on the left, but mostly on the right side. Inside the cup, you could put a little bit of shading as well. In between what I define as the petal of the design, simulating that it could be a flower. Let's continue with the skirt. On the right, and for free, if you want to cover a wider shadowy and probably more uniform, and then you define it after that, feel free to grab the pencil this way, right? And the emphasis to do it on the right and following the curvature, or following the shape of this part, the skirt in this case, right? Little bit right here on the right side. Say every time you shade something, we keep in mind that it's supposed to follow the shape of the original object, depending on how big or how far you're gonna cast the shadow. It's basically considering that the light is on the surface, and those area away from the light gets a little bit darker. There we go, a little bit of shadow cast by the cup on the body, probably a little bit on the, while we consider the neck. Great. Yeah, you can always go back and redefine, add more detail, whatever your choice, and even apply different color on your drawing as well. Right? The more detail you add, the better it's gonna look. And even though I'm probably doing it a little bit fast, feel free to take your time, slow, do it slowly. That way it probably looks better, depending how confident you feel. Because every time you draw, you just get better and better. Especially when you enjoy drawing one of these characters that everybody's talking about, everybody's so excited. And basically, what we're doing, we reinforce and we're talking about the elements of art, which is line, shape, the value, which is the shading part that define the form being another part of the elements of art. We're not using color over here yet, but color is another part of the elements of art. Yeah, and the texture, if you want to add detail on the fabric, the surface, those that define the surface, we could consider it the texture of the drawing, which is as well another part of the elements of art. All right, great. Now that we, getting closer to the end, I like to emphasize that every time you do your drawing, you get better. And also, one of the things that I like to say that you could always add other things to your drawing. You could, add your own style to it. And it could be, you could modify different position of the body part makes it more to your liking. Alright, well, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy drawing with me the Capuchina ballerina. Thank you so much. I'm gonna pull my pencil down and let's have this drawing finished for now. Thank you so much.